What if this wasn't just a dream? What if humanity actually packed up, left Earth behind, and built a new home on Mars? The announcement came from the world's leading scientists and space agencies.
We have not just found a signal.
Mars colonization wasn't just a plan anymore, it was happening. And nothing would ever be the same.
A home.
Out of 10,000 applicants, 6 were chosen. Not the strongest, not the smartest, the most adaptable. Because Mars doesn't care how tough you think you are. Mars will find your weakness. The rocket stood taller than a 30-story building, loaded with everything humanity would need to survive on another world. At dawn, the countdown reached 0, and Earth let go. For 7 months, they drifted between worlds. No rescue, no turning back, just 6 people in a metal tube, hurtling through the emptiest void in the universe. And then they saw it. Not a photograph, not a simulation. Mars. Real, enormous, filling the window like a rust-red god, waiting to be met. Entry, descent, landing. 7 minutes of absolute terror where nothing can be controlled from Earth. The signal delay is 22 minutes. By the time Mission Control hears a problem, it's already too late. The boot pressed into the soil. Rust-red dust displaced in low gravity. A footprint on a world that had never known one. Humanity was no longer a one-planet species. Construction began immediately. There was no ceremony, no speeches, just 6 people with power tools and a deadline. Because on Mars, every minute you're outside is a minute the radiation clock is ticking. The first dome inflated in under 4 hours. Translucent fabric stretched over curved ribs, pressurized, sealed. It wasn't much, but it was the first room humanity had ever built on another planet. 2 meters below the surface, the drill bit hit ice. Actual frozen water, laced through the Martian soil like veins in stone. Water means oxygen. Water means fuel. Water means survival. The first green leaf on Mars didn't look like much. A tiny lettuce seedling in a hydroponic tray, roots dangling in nutrient solution. But it was alive, growing, on a planet that had been dead for 3 billion years. Solar panels unfurled across the Martian plain like dark wings. 50 meters of photovoltaic surface drinking in what sunlight Mars offered. It wasn't much. Mars sits 50% farther from the sun than Earth, but it was enough to keep the lights on. At night, the colony was the only light on the entire planet. A small cluster of amber warmth in an ocean of darkness. Above it, more stars than any human on Earth had ever seen. Beautiful and terrifying. They saw it on the horizon first. A wall of dust 3 kilometers tall, rolling across the plain like a slow-motion tidal wave. Mars was about to remind them whose planet this really was. 72 hours, that's how long the storm lasted. Solar panels buried, power dropping. Fine red dust seeping through microscopic seams in the dome walls. They huddled in amber emergency light and listened to Mars try to erase them. Then came the radiation alarm, a solar particle event, invisible, odorless, and absolutely lethal without shielding. They had 4 minutes to reach the underground shelter. 4 minutes between safety and a death sentence written in their DNA. After the storm, the water pump was cracked. Precious extracted water leaking into Martian soil. One colonist alone, kneeling in rust-red mud, hands deep in broken machinery. On Mars, there is no repairman to call. Mars is not cruel. It isn't kind either. It simply is. An entire planet of indifferent geology that doesn't know you're here and wouldn't care if it did. The video message took 22 minutes to arrive from Earth. Her mother's face, pixelated and delayed. Her nephew holding up a crayon drawing of Mars with a heart on it. She touched the screen, cold glass. 225 million kilometers of empty space between her fingertips and everyone she'd ever loved. The first cry echoed through the habitat dome. A baby, born not on Earth, not under a blue sky, but inside a pressurized bubble on a rust-red world. The first human being in history who was not from Earth. Within a decade, the colony had grown from 1 dome to 6, from 6 people to 30. Roads worn into the soil, a greenhouse dome glowing green, children running through pressurized corridors. It was no longer a camp, it was a town. The terraced greenhouses cascaded down the mesa slope like ancient agricultural terraces on Earth. Tomatoes, potatoes, soybeans. Mars was feeding its people now with food grown in Martian soil under Martian light. 30 colonists sat in concentric circles and voted. Not on what to eat or where to drill, on how to govern themselves. Democracy on Mars. The first civilization ever built from scratch was choosing what kind of civilization to be. Someone brought a guitar from Earth. Someone else grew flowers. They ate food they'd grown themselves under string lights they'd strung by hand, in a dome they'd built on a planet that had tried to kill them. And they laughed. That might be the most human thing of all. The atmospheric processors hummed to life on the ridge, 3 steel towers pulling in carbon dioxide and exhaling oxygen. The process would take centuries. Maybe 1,000 years. But somewhere in the thin Martian air, the balance shifted, by 1 molecule at a time. The teenagers explored the canyon with the ease of natives. They jumped higher, moved lighter, knew the geology by name. Mars wasn't a hostile alien world to them, it was home. The only one they'd ever known. The valley below was no longer entirely red. Dark green lichens spread along the water channels. Hardy grass clung to sheltered slopes. Mars was changing. Slowly, impossibly, but undeniably. What began with 1 footprint was becoming a world. 2 worlds, 1 blue, 1 red, connected by a single spacecraft crossing the void between them. Humanity didn't colonize Mars because it was easy. It colonized Mars because the alternative was to stay small, and humanity was never meant to stay small.
Now, this isn't a forecast. It's a thought experiment.